All right, hello. Today I'll be teaching you guys how to install C++ onto your Windows PC. So many of you guys had questions regarding how to get C++ installed and running on your PC. Some of you guys had difficulties running and installing C++ onto your computers. So I'll be teaching you today how to get C++ installed onto your Windows PC. Specifically Windows, it's different installation on Mac OS and Linux. I might do installation in the future on macOS. However, today I'll primarily be focusing on Windows. Before we get started, you can always feel free to just use Replit.com instead. It's a really nice online editor that you can use. It has a nice compiler. It has a compiler that works with competitive programming, so it includes some of the libraries and headers that are base for competitive programming, such as the bit/stdc++.h header, which is really useful for competitive programming. And yeah, so I'd recommend just using Replit.com if you don't want to have to install C++ onto your computer. You can also use something called CodeBlocks. It comes with a compiler and an editor, so you don't have to install two things. You only have to install one thing, and it works perfectly fine. So those are your two options. However, if you want to proceed with using your own personal IDE, then this is a tutorial for you. So today we'll be installing two components. One, a compiler. So in this case, we're using the G++ compiler. For competitive programming, you can use any other compiler for C++. However, we do recommend using G++ since it does come with the bit/stdc++.h header. Which you don't have to include every single header, such as IOStream, vectors, algorithms, things like that. If you just include bits/stdc++.h, it covers most of the headers, and you don't have to put all those random headers in. So I do recommend you using G++ since it does come with that. If you use another compiler such as MSVSC, then it doesn't come with the bits headers, since bits is not a standard header part of C++. So I do recommend using the G++ compiler. So I do recommend that. And then next later on in the tutorial, we'll be teaching you how to install an IDE. The IDE of choice that we're going to be installing today is CLion. Most of the teachers at CS Club use CLion. So I do recommend using CLion as an IDE. However, you can choose whatever IDE that you want to choose, such as you can use the VS Code editor, you can use Visual Studio, you can use Vim, you can use any type of editor or IDE of your choice. But today we'll be teaching you how to install CLion, since I'm most comfortable teaching with CLion. All right, so first we have to install the G++ compiler, in which you would have to head over to this link. I'll link all these links down in the description so that you can easily access them. But head over to this website, MinGW-w64.org/downloads, and here you'll be brought to the download page to install this compiler. Here you want to scroll down and click on MinGW-w64 builds, and click on the SourceForge button, and that should bring you to the download page for the installer. Now, I already have it installed, so I won't be going to that link, so then I have to re-download it again. And you should get this file called MinGW-w64 install. I want you to open it up, and you should get this user account control prompt, in which you want to hit yes to allow, and you should be brought to the installer. Here it asks you, welcome to MinGW, the online installer. Just hit next. It should grab the repository description file, and it should give you a setup settings. For setup settings, I would recommend just leaving it as default. The default is fine enough. You want to hit next. Now it should ask you where you want to install. Now, you can install this wherever you want. Leaving it default is perfectly fine. You can also install to any other drive you want. However, I'm just going to leave it default. I'm going to copy this this destination folder, since you'll need it later on for adding MinGW to path, so that you can easily access the compiler anywhere on your computer. rather than having to specify where the compiler is every single time. We'll show you how to I'll show you how to add this to path so that you don't have to specify to your computer where the compiler is every single time. Adding to path pretty much just allows you to access this compiler anywhere you want on your computer. Then you can enable create shortcuts in Start menu, and then you just hit next to install. Now, it should install onto your computer, and it might take a while. It just depends on how fast or slow your computer is, as well as your network. So it should be installing the files. And once it's done, I guess we can proceed on to the next part of the installation. So I'll cut to once installation is done. All right, so now that the installation has done it, you can click next, and now you can finish the installation. Now before, we haven't completely finished installation. So what you have to do is, you have to add MinGW to path. So what you want to do is go into the search here on your Windows and type in environment variables. So let me just load that up. All right, environment variables, and it should say edit environment variables. You click on that, and it should bring up this control panel. Click environment variables, and now you should be brought up with this page showing environment variables. All right, now under system variables, you want to go in under path and click edit, and you click add new, and then you should paste in your the directory that you had to install where you installed your MinGW. Then click browse on top of that, so that we want to see the files within this directory, I guess, and it should show up this browse for a folder. All right, or it should bring up the browse to folder. If not, you can just go to that directory, I guess. To see program files x86, we want to go to MinGW. And then under MinGW, it should go under the i686-8.10 whatever. Under MinGW 32, you want to select bin and click OK. And now it should select that directory, I guess, MinGW 32 bin, and click OK. And then click OK again, and then click OK again. And now you should be able to you should now have a MinGW included in your path. So what you should do to double check that is you can just go and type in command prompt, so CMD here. It should bring up command prompt. And what you can do is you can type G++ -v, and it should bring up the version for G++. So it says G++ GCC version 8.1.0. And now it says that you can now see that G++ has been installed onto your computer. All right, now you can close all that. And now we're done installing the compiler for C++. Next part of the tutorial is installing the IDE. So this IDE, the IDE I personally use is CLion, and we'll show you how to install CLion on your Windows PC. So first, as a student, you're eligible for the JetBrains student license. So CLion, you have to pay for it unless you're a student, in which you get it for free as part of a student. So what you want to do is go to this link, it's available in the description, and you want to select here is apply with university email address. Now you might be wondering, why is a university email address? You can still apply as a high school student. What you have to do is just instead, okay, so as status, you want to select I'm a student, and here as level of study, you want to select secondary. All right, is computer science or engineering your major field of study? We don't really have a major field of study for secondary school, so you can just leave it as yes. And here, under your email address, what you want to do is you want to fill in your student email address provided by the school board. So here, let's say we put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's your 8-digit student ID followed by student.publicboard.ca, and that should be your student address. And then followed by, you want to put in your real name as appears, here it says as it appears on your passport, driver's license, or other legal documents. So here you can put your first and last name, and then you just continue with Canada, and then don't select I'm under 13 years old. I'm guessing most of you guys are over 13 years old. And here you want to accept I have read it and I accepted the JetBrains account agreement. You can read here. And then once you do that, you can click apply for free products. And now you should receive an email within an hour on your student.publicboard.ca email on office.com, and you should just follow the instructions there, and you proceed to the sign up page for JetBrains. Now, you don't have to use your student email to sign up with JetBrains. You only use your student email within this form. You can use whatever email. You can use your personal email, and then just sign up there, and you know, um, you can get started with JetBrains. All right. So once you're done, you know, signed up with JetBrains, what you can do is you can go to the CLion installation page. So it's also linked in the description. Here, what you want to do is you want to just click download. It says here CLion includes an evaluation license key for a free 30-day trial. However, if you're a student, you know, you don't have to use this free 30-day trial. You have it free as a student. So you can just click the download button and it should download. However, I already have it installed here. So what you can do is just double click and you can open this installation. This is in this installer, I guess. Now it should open. All right, and it looks like the installer has opened, I guess. It gives me the user access account control. You want to just click yes to allow the installer to proceed. Now onto the CLion setup, you just click next. You can choose where the install location is. It doesn't matter where it is. You can specify where it is. You don't have to copy this down anymore. And what you want to do is just click next. All right, now you want to configure your CLion installation. You can do it however you want. You can add this to your path. You can create a desktop shortcut if you want. You can add a open folder as project if you want, so that when you right click on any folder on in File Explorer, there's a button that says Open Folder as Project, so it's really convenient. As well as you can add Create Association. So me personally, I like having .cpp as an association. So whenever you have a .cpp file, you can just double click it and it'll open with CLion. That's my personal preference. You can configure this in any way you want, but me personally, I configure it like this. And then you just hit next. And then you just add this to your start menu folder. So you just leave it as default, and then you just hit install, and it should start installing now. And I'll cut back to once this installation is finished. All right, and now once you've done your CLion installation, you should be brought to this completing CLion setup. It just says you're restarted in order to complete this installation. You don't have to. You should restart your computer now. However, you can also just manually reboot later. I'm going to personally just manually reboot later. You should restart your computer, but I'm just going to proceed with installation. All right, once you click finish, you can go now open CLion. All right, so you can open CLion. And once you open it up for the first time, you should be brought to this first time installation screen. All right, so you just have to read this user agreement, and then once you read it all, you can just click I confirm and that I've read and I accept the terms of this user agreement. All right, so let me just click that and click continue. All right, so next you'll be asked on data sharing. You can if you wish to send data to JetBrains, you can feel free to send that. Me personally, I'm not going to send that. And now you should be brought to this loading screen for CLion. All right, so once you get past the installation, the loading screen, you should be brought to this installation activation page. All right, and here what you want to do is, you sign in with your CLion, your JetBrains account that you signed up when you activated as a student. So you put in your username and password here, or for purposes of this tutorial, I'm just going to evaluate for free for free 30 days. But if I wasn't doing this tutorial, I would just sign in with my JetBrains account, since then I wouldn't have to, once this 30-day trial is over, it just terminate on me. So I'm just going to evaluate it for free for this tutorial, and I'm going to hit continue. All right, so now it brings me to this welcome page, and here, I'd click create new project, create this new project, and here on the left, I'd select C++ executable to create this new project, and here I'll just type in I can specify the location for this C++ project. So let's say I'm just gonna name it CPP, since that's what specifies at C++. And then for language standard, I want you to select C++14. I'm not going to select the future versions, mainly because with MinGW, it breaks after C++14 if you use the bits library. So I'm just going to keep it with C++14 just so that it doesn't break with CLion and the MinGW library, MinGW compiler. So once I'm done that, I click create, and it creates my new C++ project. All right. And here it should now pop up something confirming about my compiler. Yep, and it does. So open project wizard, and it detects MinGW, and it detects everything here with MinGW. Here you just want to click OK once it just detects everything. Just double check. Yep, it detected everything, and I want to hit OK. And here I can just type in my code here. So let's say I want to just include bits, if I can type, include bits / stdc plus h, using namespace std, int main, it's a bit slow, int main, and then let's say just output hello world. And I just return 0. And here, it should have a pop-up a button to click run. You can just click run, and it should just it should output my it should just show my output, right? And I can also just do input as well, int x, console input x, and then I output x. It should run as perfectly fine as well. So if I do that, and I just specify 10, it outputs 10 and also outputs hello world. Now with CLion, you can only, with creating this projects, you can only really run this main CPP file. If you try to create a new file, it won't necessarily run. However, there are plugins that allow you to do this. You can go search around for them. However, you can only really work with the main.cpp initially, with CLion by default. So yeah, so that's my C++ tutorial, how to get MinGW installed and how to get CLion installed. If anyone has any more questions, you can feel free to leave them in the description or on Discord, in the comments or on Discord. As always, have a nice day.